Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe or follow button. Thank you so much for the growth this week. It's been amazing. You really helped the channel grow. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Discord and Reddit, and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
We got some Winnipeg fan takes on Bombers, CFL, Winnipeg Jets, NHL, and of course, we got our weekly quick shots. But let's start off with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who are in full training camp mode. What's the story for you personally for the first few days of Bomber training camp?
The fact that they signed Milt Stegall, and Milt Stegall is going to play this year, right?
Sweet. What?
No.
Starting rumors again, eh? Starting rumors again.
Just off the bat, it's pretty amazing that the guy went out there at the age of 50, whatever, 4 or whatever, right? And did a day of camp and looked just as good as he did back when he was younger, just in shape and everything like that. That's amazing to see someone at that age be able to do that. For me, I was looking at Wolotarski's comments actually in the I think in the Winnipeg Sun, or maybe it was Ed Tate's article, where he spoke of last season and coming into this season and kind of putting it behind them because that loss hurt them, in the Grey Cup. So, you're starting the beginning of training camp and you're wanting to kind of put some closure on it. I think they said they had a meeting, they kind of got together as a group, hashed it out, made some comments, and they were like, "Okay, that's it. It's done. Let's go and let's get into training camp and start playing the way the Bombers can end up playing and get back there and try to win that Grey Cup again."
Yeah, that was very encouraging that there wasn't a stand pat. We'll just go as business as usual and we'll get there. No, it's got to be different. Things have got to change. It's got to be a different vibe so they can go all the way this year. So that was great to hear. No complacency.
No, yeah, you got to put that stuff to bed, right? You don't want that sitting in your head thinking about it. And then you're thinking about it and you're wondering, okay, why is this guy not talking about it kind of thing either, right? So, yeah, good to see. Put a closure to that, put a bow on it, it's done kind of thing, and move on.
For me personally, it's what's going on in the secondary. It's not in regards to really any position battles, which we will talk about in a second. It's just some moves that they've made. Like I've been a huge fan of Brian Cole since I got to see him get some action last year. He's such a playmaker, and to see him being looked at defensive back behind Retta Cramdy, the Canadian, which would just give him more opportunities to make plays. Like he's a great athlete. I've said that a million times, that he can play probably the secondary, which they're giving me a chance to. He can play in coverage. And I'd love to see him get some blitzing opportunities from that dime back position. So it just gives the Bombers some different looks on defense as well. And it just gives them more opportunities to optimize the talent they have. Because this guy is just a baller on defense. He's like a missile when he's on the field. And also seeing Tyrell Ford play corner. You see the CFL with guys in Hamilton like Stavros Katsantonis, Justin Howell in Ottawa, Tunde Adeleke. I knew I wouldn't say that right. Tunde Adeleke, who is in Toronto, used to be in Hamilton. They're all safeties, but you're seeing this trend of Canadian defensive backs getting in there. So to see Tyrell Ford playing and possibly Demario Houston's spot as a starter would be amazing. So I've been just keying on the defensive backs for me personally.
Yeah, it's an interesting position, right? Because they got a little bit of change there going on. But yeah, like you say, it's good that you can have guys that are interchangeable almost back there. That they can, if they need to play linebacker because of injury, they can. If they need to fall back at defensive back, they can. So yeah, that's pretty cool to see, and hopefully it ends up working out.
I'm excited to see this defense under Jordan Younger.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And I mean, talking about that defense too, you got Anthony Bennett, last year's first round pick, getting cut after the rookie camp, and according to O'Shea, it's just injury related. So now they want to see if he can rehab and get back into it. They still like the guy. So at first, when I first saw that, I was like, ooh, that's quite shocking, and that's not looking good on the scouting team for a guy like that. But yeah, with Jordan Younger, it's exciting, and to see who they end up keeping on that D line. Even the linebacking core. I haven't heard a lot about Big Hill. Is he back in there practicing yet? I didn't see anything concrete if he's been practicing yet or not. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes back from that injury last season as well, and if he can get back to the same form he was earlier in the season last year.
Yeah, no need to rush. No need to rush. He knows the defense.
Yeah, exactly right.
He has his input. He'll be fine come opening day.
Yeah, you got 3 weeks still, pretty much till the season starts, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, get the guy healthy, and yeah, he knows the defense. I even with Younger in there, I don't think it's changing all that much. Um, from the last couple of years, so he'll be ready. But hopefully, he can come back.
I'm hoping it does change from the last couple of years much. I want to see a little more aggressive defense. I want to see more blitzing. I want to see tighter coverage because that's been an issue later on in the season, unfortunately, for the Bombers.
At least with the blitzing, as long as it hits, right? Because they blitzed in that Grey Cup game, and things weren't getting through to Fajardo, so it was kind of
Yeah.
disheartening to see those blitzes come and then not work, right? And then they get burned on it.
Yeah. They did overly blitz on Montreal. Which position battles
Maybe
are
we
you
didn't put
most
that behind us yet?
I know. Which position battles during training camp are you most not which in just one position. Which position battle intrigues you the most? You talked about defensive line. I'm going to go specifically defensive end. It's the story for me in regards to position battles. Well, the biggest reason, of course, because Jackson Jeffcoat's not going to be there, one of the best defensive ends for the past 5 years. It's damn near impossible to fill his shoes with one players, and there's no way that they're going to. Looks like Celestine Haba is going to be the leader in regards to getting snaps going forward and keeping that defensive end tandem Texas. He went to Texas A&M Commerce. Jackson Jeffcoat went to Texas. Willie Jefferson is the mayor of Beaumont, Texas. So they're going to keep that Texas. And like you said, Anthony Bennett is out cut due to injury reasons, and he'll probably be rehabbing with the team. And when time comes, he'll probably be put in that rotation. But it looks like maybe during the preseason, they'll be going with an All-American rotation at defensive end. They have Tawan Garbett, who was great in very minimal opportunities last year, but I'm really excited to see Chauncey Rivers, that dude from Last Chance U. Had a chance to play in the NFL. Unfortunately, got that ACL injury during practice. Practice? Are you kidding me, man? Practice. Some people see him as small, but he's an inch shorter than Jefferson Jeffcoat and maybe a few pounds heavier. And he has a great mentor in Willie Jefferson with that Texas connection. So hopefully he pulls through, but defensive end is going to be busy.
Yeah, because we've seen when Jeffcoat's been out, that defensive line kind of struggled because a lot of it fell on Willie Jefferson to kind of get everything done, right? Kind of thing. And then teams just focused on him and took him out. So yeah, we need Haba to step up. And if they are going to go rotational, these guys, other guys, like you mentioned, are going to have to come in and get the job done as well. So yeah, it's a big spot. Defensive line is huge, right? I mean, you've seen, Montreal got hot at that position last year with their signings and late in the year, and that definitely helped them and helped that defense kind of settle down a bit, right? So
that defensive end, will be fun to watch. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, yeah, it will be. So they got to get it right because it hurt last year too when Jeffcoat was out.
What position you got?
I'm going to go on the other side and go with the O-line and go with right tackle, obviously, with Jamarcus Hardrick leaving. That leaves a big hole. Right now, Eric Lofton is the guy that's taking the first reps in that spot. He played with Saskatchewan, made 14 starts last year, but really has not settled into that spot over time. And it's kind of, hey, maybe it's the same story as Jamarcus Hardrick coming in. He hadn't really settled into that right tackle spot until he came to the Bombers, and he found a great way to play and a great team to play with. So maybe that'll happen here for Eric Lofton as well. But I know they got a few other guys that are coming in and trying the spot as well to figure things out. So hopefully it works out for Lofton and he can get it done because that O-line, along with the guard position, the left guard position, that's kind of up in the air with Greg on, they got to get that settled. Right tackle has got to get settled. And you lose a little bit with Jamarcus Hardrick because you always saw him on the field. He was pumped, right? Dude was running 10 yards, 20 yards downfield to give someone a headbutt because it was a great play, right? So he was always pumped in those plays. So you need someone to kind of pick that up a little bit more too. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out there.
We're going to be talking about receivers soon, but you talk about energy in the room. That's a lot of leadership energy in regards to Jamarcus Hardrick and Rasheed Bailey.
Yeah.
And we've seen that when you have a cultural shift in a locker room, it translates to not as good performance on the field. With some teams.
Yeah.
But you have big pieces like that leave. We'll see.
Yeah, those guys were always pumped after plays, right? Bailey, after a big block, he was just giving her. Like, it's just so.
Yeah.
I agree. Someone else is going to have to step into that role.
Eric Lofton also was on the Bomber roster a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So at least he knows the culture and he's been in that room. So some familiarity there is probably a good thing.
Yeah, because I mean they got a few other guys, not a lot of experience in the CFL there, really, right? So yeah. And then on the left guard position, you'll see if Gabe Wallace can do anything, but they got a couple guys. Liam Dobson needs to step up, draft pick from couple years ago. So
first rounder.
Yeah, some big shoes to fill for those. Maybe not for Dobson and Gray kind of thing. I'm surprised Gray never ended up anywhere. He didn't get signed anywhere, right? As far as I know. Interesting. Being in the NFL, coming back to the CFL, and now seems like he's out of football kind of thing.
U of Emmer.
Yeah. Too bad.
Let's talk about this Bomber receiver. Looking at the Bomber receiver room, any holes? Any concerns? What do you like?
You know what? Part of my what I like and my concerns kind of go hand in hand, because I like that it's a veteran group. I like that you got Lawler, you got Dembski, you got Schoen, you got Wolodarski.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a bit of an older group as well. So my concern is injuries, right? Which then now you drop off quite a bit to that fifth guy, Jeremy Murphy, Robbie Alston. Is it going to be KJ Hill kind of thing, right? Who's going to take that spot that is left by Bailey? So you got a lot of inexperience there if one of these guys gets hurt, and especially with one of the bigger guys getting hurt, like Lawler or Schoen, right? I know Dembski does very well, plays very well, but we saw when Schoen got hurt last year in that Grey Cup game. It kind of brought this wide receiver group down a little bit. So, so yes, I love the veteran group. I love that they're going to come out of the gates running. Just concerned about age and injury.
I don't think that brought the receiver group down. I think it left Zach Collaros without his number one target.
That too. But and then that's the thing. I think with Zach, his security blanket was always Dalton Schoen.
Oh yeah,
right. So when he's in trouble, he finds a guy, and Dalton Schoen found a way to get open. And without that, he didn't know what else to kind of look for when he was on the run kind of thing. So,
yeah, I think like out of 140 something receptions, 70 something were conversions to first downs.
Yeah. That's a huge
Dalton
loss.
Schoen from Zach Collaros.
Yes. That's a huge loss in a Grey Cup game, right?
Yeah. You mentioned age. Is Nick Dembski the oldest at 30? That's not too bad.
No, not too bad. But in terms of receiver age, it's kind of getting up there, right? And games played and all that stuff. So,
yeah. And it's good that Dembski, he wasn't a full-time receiver for the first 2 years of his career. Or he wasn't really a full-time receiver until he got to Winnipeg, after he got out of that rookie contract with Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
If I'm not saying he was not relevant in Saskatchewan's receiving core, but he was a returner for the first year and a bit, and then he became a bit of a receiver, and then he came to Winnipeg, and then he really flourished as a receiver, I think, without having the stats in front of me. In regards to the receiving room, like I like their top four. I think they might have the best top four in the league with Schoen, Lawler, Dembski, and Wolodarski. Like all of it is covered. You have the quarterback's number one receiver. You have Kenny Lawler, the dynamic playmaker. You have Nick Dembski, which the defense has to keep their eyes on all the time because you don't know where he's going to end up on the field. And you have that dependable big target in Drew Wolodarski. It's that fifth spot with Rashid Bailey and the grit and the blocking that you mentioned on last episode that they really got to fill. Can you do that with KJ Hill from Ohio State? He never really was a blocker in Ohio State.
Yeah, probably not.
He's a primary receiver who did good routes. He might be a great slot receiver in the CFL long term, but he might just not have a spot in Bombers in regards to what they have to do. He might be a 6th, 7th receiver, and if he's on the practice roster, maybe another team will pick him up. So it might go down to the receiver, Kevins, that they drafted as a blocker and learning and being another big target, which I don't mind.
Yeah, because you go back to Jeremy Murphy and Robbie Alston, they're not bigger guys either kind of thing, right? So, yeah, it'll be harder for them to fill that role. So I guess with KJ Hill, if he can make this roster, he's a good fill-in. Maybe if one of these guys ends up getting injured or whatever, right? Because it's a long season. It's 18 games. Guys are going to get injured, especially wide receivers. Dembski puts his body on the line all the time. Lawler is going up in the air, making crazy catches. And we see with Wolodarski too, man, he's always in there, mixing it up. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I do like the fact that Kenny Lawler now coming into the season and he's here from game one. Yeah. Right. The guy almost put up 1,000 yards last year missing what, 6 games, 7 games? What was it?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
you had Dalton show, and you had my God, Nick Dembski getting 1,000 yards receiving. You could have probably thrown in a third guy there, Kenny Lawler, getting 1,000 yards too. So that'll be exciting to see.
Yeah, and even if like there's an injury in the top four there, I wouldn't even say that Kevin's Claircius will be moved up to the fourth. I might think Jeremy Murphy might be put into the fourth receiver, and Claircius still keeping his role as a fifth receiver and a blocking receiver.
Yeah, that's very true. And if KJ Hill is coming in as advertised and he can pick that up, then yeah, maybe he's the guy that bumps into that number 3 spot if someone gets hurt, or number 4 spot if someone gets hurt, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Jeremy Murphy the next Jamie Stoddard?
Hey, I wouldn't complain if he was. Stoddard is for what he was. Stoddard was solid, man.
I love that dude. When it came to like a play late in the game, and you knew everyone was looking at Milt, Arlen Bruce, or whoever, Stoddard was open,
yeah.
and they found him, and he caught it.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Nothing flashy at all, eh? Just getting those first downs or whatever he needed to do.
Yeah, a comparison to Jamie Stoddard is not a bad thing.
No.
Hell no. We talked about Milt earlier. Are we done with receivers?
Yeah.
We taught it all. And they have like 20 plus receivers in training camp. So Danny Mac, if we trust in him, and he's proven a lot already, they're going to find a next gem.
I mean, look, they found Dalton Schoen, right? They brought in these other guys, Joel Otarski, wherever they found him too, right? So
yeah,
they've done a good job. And yeah, I mean, if you bring in 20 guys, all you need is 1 or 2 to stick, really, right? So
absolutely. So we talked about Milt showing up in camp. Which Bomber alumni would you like to see in camp? Like, and it's got to be a little believable for fun.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I'm going Chris Walby, those kind of guys, but I mean,
in those guys would be fun. Put the mic on that dude.
Yeah, those guys are at that age, and their bodies are a lot more beat up than say Milt Stiegel's body was, right? Because you're hunched over, you're bent over, you're hitting someone on every play, right? So
yeah,
I don't think any of those guys are like, yeah, I want to go to camp and play another camp or even a day like Milt did.
Have you seen their hands?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Old lineman, bless you.
It's like, what's his name? Baldinger from the NFL there with that one finger that's just twisted.
His pinky that just points south when his hand is pointing north.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I got rid of any offensive lineman, D lineman kind of guys, but
yeah,
I think what they should have done even in this one is brought in say Kahari Jones or even Kevin Glenn to also take part in this rookie camp and hook up with Milt Stiegel kind of thing, in it. That would have been pretty cool to see. So I'd probably go with one of those guys. I'd probably go with an offensive guy or even a DB if there was one out there.
See, that's what I was going with. You saw the offensive matchup. I saw the defensive matchup. I'll go back to the Ray and Benny interview archives and I say Jerron Bolden.
Oh, yeah.
Dude looked like he could still ball for lots of plays when we talked to him.
That's true, actually,
the Ray and Benny interview archive with Jerron Bolden. Hella entertaining. But imagine him and Milt going one-on-one in training camp. Shoot. Put some mics on those guys.
That would actually been pretty fun, actually.
Wouldn't it?
Now that you say that, that would have been cool just to see the battle.
Oh my gosh, Bombers, you can take that idea. That's great. Let's move on to a little bit more serious business, not crazy serious. Thoughts on Jim Barker's quote about finding CFL staffers who publicly criticize the league? I don't know if anyone else is of agreement, but I'm kind of sick of Jim Barker being on TV no matter what he says, despite this garbage meandering that why isn't Paul LaPolice taking his place on the panel right now? Other than him being busy with his own life, why isn't Paul LaPolice the coach to go to? He is starting to outdate himself. And this quote now, he should have just shut his mouth and not said anything, especially from a guy who referenced to women as the B word and not wanting one to work as a head athletic trainer. That's crazy. TSN, I'm not saying fire a dude, but I can think of a few guys or women that I'd rather hear on the panel than that dude at this point.
Yeah, totally agree with you on this one. And he's comparing his situation of getting fined about complaining about the schedule and complaining about these women coming out and speaking against how the league handled this Chad Kelly situation. It's
Yeah.
not the same situation, buddy. You want
No.
these women to speak out and let you know what's going on and what they feel in their minds too. This is stupid that you're coming out and saying this stuff. And for one thing, Barker was part of the Argos organization in 2022 when the
Yeah.
allegations first started.
Absolutely.
So this guy probably knows more than he is letting on as well. You know, for me, the league dropped the ball big time on this. You did this investigation. You finally seemed like you were doing something right by giving him a 9-game suspension, even though he was that you found evidence that he did 3 out of the 6 things that were in this report. So
He admitted
that zero tolerance. The guy probably shouldn't even been allowed to continue playing in this league, or at least been suspended for more than 9 games at this point.
Yeah.
But you let him come back in, and then you let the Argos handle it and let him come out to practice. Then you got the pinball freaking comments. You know, like stuff happens between 2 people or whatever he said. Like, come on,
Yeah.
dude. You know, I don't get it, man. And then you had today the Deshaun Lemon stuff.
Oh.
He appeals this suspension, and you come out and put some memo out about that. But you were silent on this Argos and letting Chad Kelly show up on the field. I don't understand.
It's ridiculous.
To me, sexual harassment is way worse than gambling on a league.
Oh, yeah. Yep, they're on the same scale. Like, integrity of the game be damned when it comes down to it. You don't want sexual assault and harassment to be happening in the workplace.
No.
And the fact that he's kind of scapegoating and saying that, oh, the team was obligated to allow Kelly to remain with the team under the terms of the CBA. Man, shut up. The team had the option to either have this guy on site because they took him off site. So where's the obligation of the CBA there?
Yeah.
They're not breaking the CBA by doing this. So he's Jim Garbage. Jim Barker, he's outdated. Yeah, Jim Garbage. That's how I'm going to say now moving forward. Jim Garbage. That's what comes out of his mouth. TSN should move on. Bless him. He was great in CFL for what he did, but knowing that he was part of the organization and now him saying this garbage, done.
Yeah. And what did he cover back in 2022? And did he leave the Argos organization because of it? Because he knew at some point this stuff was going to come out. So
what a clown show this is.
Big time.
What a clown show.
You know what? And the unfortunate thing is this is what the CFL, it's like the season's starting. Let's get excited for the season. But yet you're allowing this stuff to take over the narrative and the news of the training camps opening, right? Chad Kelly to me should not be anywhere close to this league anymore right now.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Like, exactly. Just when you think the CFL has done something right, there's loopholes that they leave open for stupidity to happen.
And the funny thing with Barker, I'm pretty sure in the article that I read from 3 Down Nation referenced that the Argos did not find any of these allegations to be true. They did their own quick little investigation, didn't find anything. So to me, it's like, okay, well, who did it? Because how did the league end up coming to the conclusion then that they did do it, and they had witnesses and they had people come out and support and all that stuff? So what exactly did the Argos do to investigate?
You know what they did? Hey, Chad, did you do any of this? Chad says, no. Investigation over. That's what the hell happened.
That's
trash.
Ridiculous, man.
Unbelievable. Come on. So embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
He's just, if this dude can't drag his knuckles out of the 1950s, why are they associating themselves with them?
Yeah. This is where I'd kind of like to see the rest of the panel there step up as well, and bring this to the attention of TSN and saying, hey man, you know, like, I can't work with this, or I don't agree with what he's saying and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Imagine like
other people need to step up to stop this stuff from happening.
I'd be turning if this dude said something about like black people, I'd be turning the TV off every time he was on the TV.
Yeah, for sure.
Clown show. Let's talk about Taylor Powell signing an extension recently. How long before he gets his first start?
I'm gonna go an over under thing here. I'm gonna go under 4 games. I have no faith in Bo Levi Mitchell coming back. The guy just came to camp. He's got a walking boot on already. He was terrible leaving Calgary. He was terrible last season. And Powell to me actually looked interesting. You know, the guy put up over 2,000 yards. 10 touchdowns in limited playing time, in his starts and in his coming in, and he completed almost 68% of his passes. That's pretty good. I'd love to see his next progression and time to move on from Bo Levi. But yeah, 4 games, less than 4 games.
That's great that you say that. I personally don't think Bo Levi makes it to Labor Day health-wise. And to be clear, I am not hoping that this happens. You never want to see a legend or any player, to be honest with you, end their career due to an injury. But history says that this guy, not just recent history, 4 to 5 year history, says that this guy is not going to play a full season, not since 2018. So health wise, I don't think he makes it to Labor Day, but I kind of dread watching the Ticats go 0-4 with the 4th loss being against Ottawa and them saying, yep, it's time to make that change.
Yeah.
Because like you said, his performance has not been there since the Bo Levi prime, and he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's won his cups. No, he's won his MVPs. He put up the yardage. He was great in regards to that line of Calgary great quarterbacks. Doug Flutie, Jeff Garcia, Dave Dickinson, and Bo Levi Mitchell. Now Jake Meyer. But still, he's in that succession of great quarterbacks, but now he's not great.
And I think it's tough for him to just go out like that, because he was playing very well, and then the injury started and things started to dip down, right? And now he probably wants to prove, hey, I can still do this and go out maybe on a high note instead of this way. But what did he have last year? Like 3 touchdowns and like almost double-digit interceptions in the first few games that he played before he got hurt. So
he can't do it consistently.
No, it's not there anymore, unfortunately. And yes, like you say, in his prime, he was an awesome player. Like he killed the Bombers constantly. He killed the whole league constantly. So
it was horrible watching that dude, but
I know,
it's not that dude.
Yeah, because you knew he was going to come in and tear up the Bombers. He was putting up 300 yards, no problem.
Much respect to Bo Levi. Yeah. No disrespect of his career. It's an amazing one, Hall of Fame one, but just the truth right now. Bomber fans, CFL fans, put your comments below. Let's move on to some Winnipeg Jets talk, brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, or the field with a custom airbrush helmet or goalie mask. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions for any project. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431. Tell them Ray and Benny sent you. Oh, sorry.
You took my words. But you know what? I will mention, it's not just helmets. If you look on Facebook, they got a nice cowboy hat, spray painted bomber logo, bomber, buzz and boomer on it. Check that out too, because there's different things that can be painted as well.
Oh, that's good for like Labor Day or Banjo Bowl.
Yeah.
Put those orders in now, because dude's gonna get busy.
Yeah.
So put those orders out for your bomber customized gear. Like, this airbrushing is sweet.
It is, yeah.
Thanks for supporting us, Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Winnipeg Jets talk. Jets attendance was an issue last season, without a doubt. Like, we had Chipman crying for fans to come in, and at the same time looking for sponsorship, corporate, yes, commitment. If the Jets go with Scott Arniel as a coach, will that hurt them getting butts and seats?
Yeah, I think so. You had the excitement of the season. It was a great season. Bombers going into the playoffs, 4th overall in points, 2nd overall in points in the Western Conference and all that, and then they got routed in the first round. So that excitement of that season just went downhill. You know, so you don't want to lose that excitement by signing or hiring Scott Arniel. I mean, the guy has not had a head coaching job in over 10 years. And even then, when he had it, he didn't last very long in Columbus. I think 130 games total or so. And then he was let go, you know, and, according to some ex-players, he wasn't the greatest coach either. So to me, I think you got to go outside the box. If you sign Arniel, nobody's going to get excited. You're not going to sell more season tickets with Arniel. So, yeah, I think the Jets do need to do a thorough search and probably go in a different direction.
Yes. If the Jets go with Scott Arniel, I don't think that will convince people to re-up. but I don't think that will hurt them. I think it really depends on what Cheveldayoff does with this roster. I think with significant roster changes, positive roster changes, I think you'll attract more fans with Scott Arniel as the coach. If you don't make any changes to this roster, you'll probably lose some. If this roster is worse, then you're screwed. So I think the team did well enough. And I think there is a realization after the anger and frustration and disappointment of the losses that this roster, no matter what, was not good enough to beat Colorado. There has to be some major changes, whether it be youth, whatever. We'll talk about that in the weeks to come, what those changes should be. But I think the primary concern of Jets fans is the roster. Yes, we're in a coaching search now. And if they hire Mike Babcock, yes, people will be like, I'm out of here. I'm done. But I think people will give Scott Arniel a chance at least until Cheveldayoff gets some time to make some moves.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if that'll bring in more people for season tickets, which they really want. They want more people to buy season tickets. I don't
It
think
won't bring in more.
I don't think people are going to necessarily leave because they probably already locked in at this point for next season, anyways. So I don't think they'll leave, but I don't think it'll get you those extra ones. Like, they want to get back to 13,000, right? Yeah. I don't think it's going to get you back there at all because the excitement will be like, oh, Arniel, it's going to be saying a bonus. What if you do Arniel, do you bring back all the assistant coaches from last year too? You know, because knowing the Jets, they probably will, right? So you're bringing back Brad Lauer, who ran the power play. Arniel ran the penalty kill.
That's right.
And that still wasn't good, right? So, and I know he had good moments when he took over for Bonus coaching this year when Bonus was ill or Bonus's wife was ill. But to me, the excitement of Arniel just isn't there. And I hope they go in a different direction, but I would not be surprised if they went with Arniel.
I'm not off the Arniel train yet. I'm not conducting it, but I'm not off it.
They need to find someone that's going to help build this team for the future. Like we said, we got a lot of young guys coming up. That defensive core is going to get changed a lot because I don't think you're getting DeMello and Dylan probably back. They got to decide on Pionk. So yeah, some big decisions to make here. Look at Dallas. They got Wyatt Johnson. The guy's 20 years old. The guy's basically leading them right now in the playoffs.
Yep.
You know, why can't the Jets have that 20 year-old come in? You know, Brad Lambert's 20. Why can't he be that guy? Like, someone
maybe Arniel will give him that opportunity to come out of he came out of the AHL.
Yeah, he did well with the Moose. So
he might appreciate them more.
Good. I don't know.
Wasn't he there when Cole Perfetti made his return to the lineup?
Hey,
I know he wasn't the head coach, but when he was taking his chance, didn't Cole Perfetti make his return to the lineup the first time there?
It might have been. It's hard for me to remember. My memory's not that good.
Yeah, great. If I'm the one to bank on from memory, we are screwed. Speaking of Winnipeg Jets coaches, word is that the Jets are interviewing
Zoom interviewed him.
Craig Berube. What's one reason they should hire Berube? And what's one reason they should stay away from Berube? The Jets have not have a Stanley Cup winning coach. And maybe that's what the room needs. It was great that Bones called him out at the end of last season, but it's clear that he couldn't get the best out of the players that he had during the Colorado series. He couldn't get their intensity to play for the full 60 minutes in games 2, 3, and 4. So maybe having a guy with a ring in the room changes that message. So I'm saying that's a reason they should hire Berube.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I mean, yeah, Stanley Cup ring right there. He took a team that was dead last in the NHL and helped bring them back to life, knocked the Jets out of the playoffs that year too, and brought them in. And each year after that, they've been competitive for the most part in every season, except for the last one where they missed the playoffs, where he ended up getting fired halfway through or whatever it was. But yeah, Stanley Cup winner. He's a hard coach. And maybe that's, again, Bonus was a hard coach. Maybe Berube takes that next step, and maybe that's what some of this core needs still of. But we'll see. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but yeah, Stanley Cup winner for sure.
He's a hard coach, but he's also known, like, not that I've interviewed the guy or talked to ex-players of his personally, but he is known through the research that I've done as being a coach who knows how to talk to individual players. He knows how to coddle guys like Tarasenko, and at the same time, he knows how to call out guys like Shen. So he knows how to approach players differently. And at the same time, I think we talked about this a couple weird episodes ago. Identify people as individuals rather than blanket.
Yeah.
Take care of everyone. So maybe that's a bonus as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Sometimes you have to take a player for who he is and build around him, or let him kind of deal, like Ehlers, right? Ehlers is different than Scheifele. Ehlers is different than Connor. He'll play differently. Sometimes you have to let that go a little bit and let him blossom that way, and instead of trying to make him into a Connor, or like they did with Line A, trying to force Line A into being more of a defensive guy, more to be a 200-foot guy, right? So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know how Berube is necessarily with the younger guys coming in as well. I want to see some youth get pushed in the next couple of years, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how he is in terms of that either. If he helped build that with St. Louis. My concern with Berube would be like, how did a Stanley Cup winning coach not last longer than 5 seasons as a head coach after he brought you a Stanley Cup? Does his message start to wear out after a bit? And do players start to tune him out because he is a little bit too hard, and it gets to be too much on these players after a while? Because it's interesting. He brought you your first Stanley Cup, and now he's gone 5 years later, basically. So that would scare me a little bit.
We talked about this with the Bombers early in the episode about key players like Rasheed Bailey and Jamarcus Hardrick leaving. There were key players who left St. Louis the year after they won the. Not Ryan O'Reilly. He stayed for a while. Or was it Ryan O'Reilly? He's one of them, wasn't
he? Yeah, he left not that long after.
Soon after. Yeah. They had a couple big pieces that left, and the GM did not do a good job in replacing that. And Berube gave the young guys an opportunity because he had no choice. And I can't remember their GM's name. Again, I'm horrible with names, but maybe that's a piece of it too. I don't know. But I agree with you too. There has not been any consistency in that St. Louis play since that Stanley Cup run. They got really hot behind a really hot goalie who is no longer hot. And now what?
Yeah, well, yeah. Now you signed him to a longer contract, $6 million or whatever a year. You lost Peter Angelo. You lost some key pieces on that team, but the one thing that he kept doing though is they were competitive. I mean, he was gone this year, but they just missed out last year, I believe, on the playoffs. So, they were still playing hard, even though they lost Tarasenko, Peter Angelo, O'Reilly. Like, they lost some big pieces, and you had to kind of rebuild it all. But yeah, I mean, some of the blame will definitely go towards the GM for that too.
Goodness. You get a mulligan on that final 4 predictions that we did last episode. Are you changing anything?
Probably blow up the whole thing except for one team. After I change it though, it all reverse, right?
Yeah.
Am I going to jinx these other teams now that I picked them? Because only Florida is in the driver's seat that I picked out of these 4 teams. So
yeah.
I would probably switch the whole Western Conference. I know Edmonton is winning tonight 2-0, but the way they've played and the way they've looked. I mean, you're facing a 3rd string goalie and you're struggling to beat him and beat another team. So I'd probably go with Dallas and Vancouver now in the Western Conference, because Dallas, to me, it looks formidable. I mean, what they're doing to Colorado is crazy considering what Colorado did to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And then Carolina, can they come back from 3-0? I don't think they're going to win the next 2, so I'd probably pick the Rangers versus Florida.
I'm going to I'm going to blank out the West. Edmonton, so Dallas, Vancouver. And I'm going to stick with what I had in the East with Florida and the Hurricanes. I'm fine with that.
That'd be pretty amazing if Carolina can come back. I know they're a good team too. But for the Rangers to blow a 3-0 series lead would be crazy.
Yeah.
For how good they are. So
thoughts on the league response to McDavid, Zadorov, and Soucy stick incident? I'm really getting sick of these stick swinging incidents. I don't understand how any use of this stick as a weapon is acceptable in any type of way. McDavid took a good swing at the dude's legs. I don't care where it is. Oh, he's padded. It doesn't matter. That's going to escalate stuff. So he should be penalized, and that should be applied in the next game. Starting the game, put the guy 5 in the box, fine him $10,000. Same as Zadorov. Put him in the box for 5 minutes at the start of the game, fine him 10,000. And that other dude for the stupid cross check in the face, like that should be more than a game. This is getting ridiculous. How is it acceptable to use a piece of equipment as a weapon? Where does that happen in any other league? Like you see Myles Garrett do it one time with a helmet, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that. They've got to be stricter on these using the stick as a weapon infractions because it's ridiculous. They let too much go, and it escalates to too much.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna find Zadorov for that, then you got to find McDavid as well for the slash. The cross check to me, yes, it was going high, but it was unfortunate for McDavid kind of falling down from the cross check that he ended up getting in the face. Again, the cross check wouldn't have been needed anyways. There's no need for that. It's the end of the game as well, right? So, I mean, Zadorov has stitches over or next to one of his eyes. What happened there? Where did he get that from? And are you finding someone else for that? You know, the officiating in the playoffs has been a gong show. You had even Brad Marchand, who everyone loved, that he got punched in the face by Sam Bennett the other day because he deserved it because he's done bad things in the past. But no, even that, Bennett got away with it. No suspension. Marchand is now out with a concussion or whatever he's out with and hasn't played. So how does that be allowed too? Like, what's going on in this league that you can't handle these, especially after the fact? Right? Hand a suspension. They said they didn't see the Bennett punch. You know,
Shut up.
How did you not?
This player safety department is still headed by Chris Simon.
No, Peros.
Oh yes, that's right. Sorry.
George Peros.
Sorry, respect to Chris Simon. My apologies.
Yes.
My apologies. George Peros. That's who I meant. Absolutely. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Any stick infraction, they got to be harder on those.
Yeah. It's not hard to find guys. You don't necessarily need to suspend guys, but like you say, either a fine or give them a penalty next game. You know, let it carry over.
How is that acceptable to use a piece of equipment as a weapon?
And you got kids watching, right? You want kids to be watching, and this is what they're watching. So they're thinking now, and my son plays hockey, and there was a lot of stuff this past weekend too, where guys are taking swings at people's heads. It's like, well, hey, if the NHL can do it, why can't I do it?
Absolutely. It's a joke. Like, come on. NHL Jets fans, put your comments in the comment section below. Quick shots. Let's get through quick shots. Did the Oilers drop the ball on goaltending position again?
Yeah.
I said that 5 games into the season when they pulled Campbell. Of course they did. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, Stuart Skinner got hot in the season, and the Oilers made a comeback. But and tonight, Calvin Pickard's in making his first playoff start, only facing 15 shots, and so far he hasn't allowed a goal. So good start for him. But yeah, Stuart Skinner has been terrible in the playoffs so far, and you have no veteran guy behind him. Even if Pickard wins tonight, will he be able to carry this team to a round 2 victory? Probably not.
Yeah. Skinner's young. Was his second year? Second full year?
Second full year. But you also got Draisaitl and McDavid on their last year of their contract next year. So, you got to win now.
It all comes down to that Jack Campbell signing.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Like, they can't do anything after that. What are they going to do? They couldn't do anything at the trade deadline. Why were they going to get Jake Allen? Give me a break.
Why were you signing the guy for that contract anyways?
Crazy. Crazy. Which QB taken in the first round of this year's NFL draft will have the best career?
I'm going to go with the number 2 pick, Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. The other guys picked later on, I don't trust them much. I'm still not sold on Caleb Williams to see what he can do. So if I got to pick one, I'm going with Jaden Daniels.
I'm going to go JJ McCarthy in Minnesota. He's a national champion, 27-1 as a starter, coached by Harbaugh, Justin Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson. I'm going to go with him. And he gets a chill behind who? Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Yeah, he's starting again.
He won't be starting too soon.
Over under 4 games again.
I'll give him half a season. I'll give Sam Darnold half a season.
All right.
Will LeBron James ever play in a regular season NBA game with his son? Yes, the NBA is a farce. It's going to happen.
Yeah. And you know what? If I was any team, I would probably try to draft Bronny probably even before you probably should, just so you can lure LeBron there. It's a moneymaker. Having LeBron there, you're selling jerseys like crazy, man. Sell those crowds and everything. So yeah, for sure, it's happening.
Yeah, or trade Bronny James to the Lakers for their next first-round picks for the next 10 years because LeBron James wants to make it happen.
Oh, my God.
Give me
Is he even that good? I don't know.
Bronny James?
The Bronny James, yes. Is he good?
He's horrible. He's
So-
horrible, bro.
So you're gonna trade first rounders for him just for LeBron and screw up the rest of your future?
Horrible in the sense that he's going to USC and he's declaring for the draft when he shouldn't be.
Is he in the
Obviously-
draft this year?
Yes, he declared.
Oh my goodness.
Doesn't make sense. Is it time for the Avalanche to cut ties with Nichushkin? Yes. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's for sure, but he's had issues before. And what happened in Seattle with some woman?
Yeah,
Just,
so
it's time.
yeah, but you know what the thing is? He's in the second season of an 8-year, $49 million contract. So yeah, you're gonna have to buy him out and take a heavy hit. Unfortunately, you know whatever the addiction is, it's no joke. So it's a delicate situation. But yeah, on the business side of things, you probably got to look at it and cut ties. And which sucks because the guy was a beast in that first round series against the Jets.
Are you telling me there's no, well, I guess once they're in the program rehab that you can't really cut the dude?
No, yeah,
But-
for the next 6 months, he's stuck. I mean, the contract doesn't count against the cap, but once he's ready to go, he's ready to go. So,
And this will be like come beginning of next season.
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just the legalities of it, yes, but the chance that the Avs take with this guy and his record, I know you got to be humane any which way. I'm sorry. Initial thoughts on the hiring of Jesse March as the new head coach of Canada Men's Soccer.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at his record, no international experience. Reading some comments, people were excited about seeing the guy get hired. He was running for the U.S. job. So my only concern is the lack of international experience. And even in league play, he's done okay, nothing fantastic there. So it'll be interesting. I don't know enough about the guy, but I'm hoping it works out because Canada needs to take that next step and build off of that World Cup appearance from a couple years ago.
I don't get this hiring. I don't get this hiring. Like, off what I've read from this dude, even the Americans didn't want this guy as a head coach when the head coach opportunities came. Like, in regards to having an international team for the World Cup, you don't have much time to assemble a team. Apparently, this guy's a chess player, a strategist, a system coach, and you don't have time for that, especially when you don't have depth in a team like Canada. So I don't think this is a well thought out hiring. I really don't.
And considering Canada doesn't put enough money into soccer to play enough friendlies either. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Gold Cup is coming up this summer, or is it, no, not the Gold Cup. It's CONCACAF. No.
Yeah, right. CONCACAF.
Yeah. Gold Cup. So we'll see right away. Probably in a couple months, right? That's when the tournament is. So
Yeah. How much time do you really have with this team as a whole in a couple months to show us what you can do?
yeah, I'm surprised they're actually making this hire now before this tournament, and not a few months ago. Really, they got a couple friendlies coming up, I think. So we'll see.
I would have almost done what it's not Bertelli. What's the coach they have right now? I can't remember, but
Yeah.
I'd rather them just kept him on. Just go with who you're comfortable with. Let him grow in this opportunity. Like you're gonna have to let this American coach grow in this opportunity. It's just mind-boggling to me. I don't know. Or get John Herdman back. Come on, like
Dude went to Toronto FC there, right? MLS. So
jeez.
yeah,
So
they
frustrating.
got friendlies coming up in June against Netherlands and France.
They're gonna get their asses kicked.
And then they in the sorry, it's the Copa America. I knew I was getting the wrong thing. Copa America, and their first group game is against Argentina.
So their next 3 games are against who?
Netherlands, France, Argentina.
They're going to be looking for another coach after these 3 games. This is crazy. Benny, oh my God. Do you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, leave us a comment, leave us a like. Have a good week.
And we're going into the World Cup. We're going into the World.
2 years still.
And in the words of Ed Whalen, in the meantime, in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports.
Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.